have to change my... Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. I am Kel McDonald, and I make comics you can read at kelmcdonald.com.
And I am Alina Pete, and I make comics that you can read at alinapete.com or at weregeek.com.
And I just told Alina I spent today listening to the new October Day book because it came out 2 weeks ago, but the audiobook came out today, so
Nice.
that's what I did all day. I listened
Nice.
to Fairy Crimes and Sexy Catmen.
Everything you love in a book.
Yes.
How should I draw us today?
Let's solve fairy crimes.
Let's solve some fairy crimes.
I also I went to Rose City this weekend.
Yeah.
And I met the YouTuber Jessie Gender.
Oh,
Who
cool.
does a lot of YouTube videos about Star Trek being gay.
I mean, it is.
And
So that's just truth.
What's funny is, so she was at Rose City because she was on a panel to talk about. The panel was entitled "When Did Star Trek Get Woke?"
Always been.
The
Never
answer
stopped.
is always was. Yeah, answer is always was.
Yep.
It got woke the day it premiered. And so but because that was the title, there was she told me that a bunch of dudes, the cis straight looking white dudes,
Yep.
in the middle of the panel, like, or early on in the panel, like, just got up and left. So it's very clear that they thought it was going to be a panel complaining
about wokeness. Yeah.
About how Star Trek got woke.
Nope, always been, y'all.
A trans lady and a cis lesbian talking about Star Trek, so
Good.
And she let me know that apparently Brett Spiner wrote a mystery novel.
Really?
About himself and the cast of Jen getting involved in a weird occult mystery. And the audiobook is read by the entire cast, so they're all playing fictionalized versions of themselves.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I may need to find that.
My Audible wish list, and I'm definitely gonna listen to.
Oh man.
Brett Spiner's, he called it a mem noir.
Good.
But yeah. So that's a thing that I'm definitely gonna listen to when I'm done with October Day.
October Day. Nice. You've got a pipe. It's a good look. I would encourage it. Not to smoke. Smoking's bad, y'all. It's just a look. You can point with a pipe. You can.
Also, a manga that I'm editing got announced.
Oh, really?
It's called Even Dogs Go to Another World.
Oh, I think I saw you post that, and it looks cute AF.
It is cute as fuck. It's just a guy and his dog hanging out in a fantasy land.
I love that. They got isekai'd into a different world, right? Because
Yeah,
everything is
and
isekai.
his dog big. Now his
Good.
dog big.
Good. I like that his dog big. His dog's big
Yeah.
enough that I think the cover had a picture of like him lying on the bed that was his dog. Like his dog is very big.
Yeah, his dog, he rides his dog a bunch.
Good.
His dog is like bigger than Princess Mononoke wolves.
Yeah, and that's big. There's fairy crimes happening in this picture.
Yep.
Actually, no, that's not funny enough. I'm doing a funnier picture. Hang on. Hang on. The fairy wasn't funny enough.
Fairy crimes is child murder.
Fairies like to murder children.
They also like to steal children.
Yep.
They find out that one of the queens of fairy has been cursed to kill all the children she has.
Gotcha.
All new children, so her older, more powerful children can still hang out, but she has to kill them.
All of her current crop. There. This one's not maybe a crime so much as it's just a rude fairy. Either way, it amuses me.
Also, the YouTuber that I like, Skip Intro, I told you that he did those propaganda videos.
Yep.
His newest propaganda video is about Paw Patrol.
Yes, good. I think he's been threatening to do that one for a while, and I'm glad it exists now.
Yeah, he hit his Patreon goal to do the Paw Patrol video.
Good. I saw a shirt that just said defund Paw Patrol.
Yeah, he posts some good like meme jokes that are mad at Paw Patrol. And one is all dogs go to heaven except for those class traitors in Paw Patrol.
Yep. Okay, there's our intro image. You look very unimpressed, and I enjoy it.
That's how I usually look.
Yep. I am drawing some actual comics today. Look at me drawing comics. That's a thing I can do. Let's work on Charlie. So, Rose City. I have never been, because I have heard it is definitely not worth traveling from another country to come to. But I understand it's a decent local show.
Decent is a strong word. If I had to pay for parking, I don't know if I'd want to go.
Yeah.
So a thing
one of
that
those.
they started doing that I think is interesting is, so I was in Artist Alley, and I had a corner Artist Alley booth, so they gave me like an extra table.
Oh yeah?
So I could display more shit, so that was cool.
Nice.
And like, it's definitely a thing that people didn't realize they were gonna do, because there's almost everyone who had a corner table, like Rebecca Hicks, were like, oh, I guess I have to go home and get another tablecloth and spread out my display.
More space than I anticipated. Oh hey, there's a Jam in the chat tonight. Hey Jam.
Hi Jam.
Yay for jams.
Jams.
Jams. That's where you get together and draw pictures of Jam with other artists. It's a jam.
Oh, I was
make
gonna say
Jam.
Start a band so they can say jams with Jam.
Hell yes. That might be a little too standoffish. I want him to seem warm and opening. Or welcoming. Maybe I'll turn his head back the other way.
Also, lately been rewatching Gargoyles with Corey.
Oh, hell yes. Do you guys do like a watch party kind of thing?
Yep. Good
Nice.
Gargs. All
Good.
Gargs.
I've been missing some Gargs lately.
I have been. How goes the thing that you're in the writer's room for?
Oh, good. We actually have another meeting this Thursday. We were supposed to have one last week, but it got pushed back. So we're having one this week. We're going to have a chat with our script editor, and then we basically have put together the pitch document, including the pilot, which it didn't have before. So we've got the script, or at least the treatment for the pilot episode, which is what a lot of places want to see when you're shopping them around. I'm pretty happy with it. We finally sort of settled on a tone, because I think our initial treatments had come off as like, this is a serious sci-fi, and it's like, no, this is like crazy heists happen on this show.
Yeah.
So we kind of like, this is going to be more tonally similar to like The Good Place than to Star Trek.
Have you seen Orville?
Yes. Only the first season.
Thoughts?
Love it. It's exceedingly Star Trek.
Because I haven't watched it because Seth MacFarlane's involved.
Oh yeah, that's always a damper on the fun.
And yeah, so that was kind of like. Then people told me it was good, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's still a part of it.
I had the same qualms.
So I haven't checked it out yet. I have been keeping up with Lower Decks, and
Nice.
Lower Decks is.
I have not seen that one.
It's wonderful. You should definitely
Good.
watch some Lower Decks.
Good. Yes, exactly, Jam. Jam says they feel like it nails the tone but fumbles the metaphor every time, or the outcome, which is a real, a real Seth MacFarlane kind of thing to do.
Is he still obsessed with 9/11? How many 9/11 jokes are in Orville?
God, I don't know. That's better. That seems like a rugged outdoorsman. That's a pose I like. I have mostly this weekend been watching Sandman and BattleBots. More BattleBots, which is a very, very, very favorite of mine.
How far are you in Sandman?
4, maybe 5 episodes in.
Did you get to 24/7?
No.
Okay, that's episode 5. So you've
Gotcha.
only seen. I really like John D getting a ride from that lady.
Yes, that was a good episode.
I like her when he is rambling about people lying being bad, and she says sometimes people lie out of fear.
And then he actually listens.
I think that is a good setup of then he gives her the amulet thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, then you won't be afraid of anything. So
And
you
he knows
won't lie.
she's a good person, but she's just done the thing he hates the most, which is to lie to him.
Yeah. Um,
That was
and
they did a good
that's
job of building the tension because I was like, oh, there's no way she's getting out of
yeah.
this.
Well, she
But
does die in the comic.
yeah,
So that was a change, and I think that
I am
it's
glad that they did not kill the black lady.
well, she's not black in the comic.
No,
She
no, yeah.
uh,
But like when you recast something like that, it does put the context of your original script into a question. So you might need to be like, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe
uh-huh.
let's rewrite this.
Oh,
Plus,
the reverse of that is John Constantine's lover, who took
mm,
the sand. Um, in the original, she's white,
yeah,
but also John Constantine didn't leave her. Like, she's a junkie who stole all his stuff,
right.
so she could turn it into heroin. So, changing that actress to be black,
Yeah,
like,
that's a big
well,
problem.
it's
Don't
good that
do
they
that.
didn't put her as a junkie. It's still she's a black lady getting fridged for
Yeah,
a white partner.
yeah.
Uh, and
Which,
that's not great.
that's not great, but at least they didn't do it twice.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
the thing that gets me about the guy they cast as Morpheus, like Dream, is like
mhm.
he is as close as humanly possible, and I do mean like as possible as for a human to portray that character from the artwork. Like I don't know
Mhm.
if they've like digitally lengthened his face or if he just looks like that, but he looks a
No,
lot
he
like
just
those
looks like
drawings.
that.
He's got just the longest, cheekboniest face. It's really astounding.
At Emerald City,
Yep.
we were discussing his cheekbones and his face,
Good, good.
and also the fact
They are
that
a
he's
national treasure.
apparently best, he's apparently best friends with Robert Patterson.
Oh, wow. So, oh, you were telling me
Um,
about this. They have the School of Cheekbones.
the school of sharp faced lads,
Yes.
because it was not just him and Robert Patterson. It was also Eddie Redmayne,
Holy
and
crap.
another cheekbony guy, who's about that age.
Part of the entrance requirements is they like measure your facial structure. Yeah, cheekbones are not sharp enough, sir.
Well, the thing is that Charlie Cox also went to school with them, and it's
Right.
like you think that they made fun of him because his cheekbones weren't sharp enough.
Yeah.
Uh,
What have I done with these lines? Alina, what is happening?
Also, I love Charlie Cox. I'm kind of annoyed that he plays Daredevil because I want him to have roles where he smiles.
Yep.
Um, and Daredevil is not that.
Maybe when he cameos in She-Hulk, he will smile.
I would just like him to be in stuff that's not the MCU.
Yes. Yeah.
I've sworn off the MCU. I had 50 million people tell me about Werewolf by Night, and I'm like, I can't.
My werewolf obsessed buddy and I may have a Halloween watch party for that. Not on Halloween because we'll be dressed as werewolves running around the streets of Vancouver, but maybe before Halloween. The Parade of Lost Souls is back this year, which is my favorite thing in all of Vancouver. They take over a section of park near Broadway, and there's like just the biggest party where they have like a parade, which is the Parade of Lost Souls, every hour on the hour, and then it's just a park full of people dressed up in Halloween costumes being spooky and great. And there's haunted houses. It could not get any cooler.
Cool.
The
Good.
last year there was
Um,
an entire ghost ship. They made like a ghost ship that you could walk through. were passed, and there was giant puppets of ghosts, which was also very cool.
I am gonna take Corey out to a haunted house bar.
Good.
Before Halloween.
Good.
Because it's also Corey's birthday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that Corey's a Halloween baby.
Yeah, Corey was born right before Halloween.
That's why Corey's so spooky. I like it. I was supposed to be born on Halloween. My mom was induced on Halloween, and then I went, hell no, it's a blizzard out there, and I did not come. Until several days later, when it was less blizzardy. Which just shows that even as a baby, I had very good sense about getting the hell away from the cold.
Cold is bad. I hate the cold.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But I was born in June, so...
Yeah. You were real smart, and you got around the whole other end of the year from the cold.
Do you ever think about what happened 9 months before your birthday?
Yep. Like, not in a weird way, because obviously you don't want to, like, imagine your folks
Yeah, well,
getting it on,
like,
but, like...
I realized that my birthday is 9 months after my dad's birthday.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, and so I feel like it's pretty obvious why I was conceived.
Yeah, I know the story. I was the result of a teen pregnancy, but I was the Valentine's shortly after Valentine's breakup, then quick rebound with somebody you had your eye on. That was the whole situation that resulted in me.
Oh, off topic completely.
Yeah.
I spent last weekend catching up on The Glass Scientist.
Ooh, how's that?
It is a webcomic about Dr. Henry Jekyll runs a safe house for mad scientists.
Good, I love it.
And
that's a good, strong concept.
A character that is, well, how can we make a character that Kel really likes? Put them all in one person. There is a tiny gentleman named Jasper.
Oh, good.
He's a cryptozoologist.
Perfect. Love him already.
Bitten by a werewolf while studying werewolves.
Oh my god, somebody made your OC, Kel.
And he's trans.
Good. A little werewolf trans boy. I love him.
Yeah. And so he's a small that hangs out with a tall. So.
And he's a little werewolf, a little angry werewolf.
Not angry. He's just adorable.
Okay, good. I love it. I love it anyway.
Nice science.
Oh, love him. God, they really were catering directly to you.
Yeah. Went directly into my brain.
Yep. That would be like if they made a goth boy who was really also a bird and cyberpunk, which they sort of have.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna send you a picture of Jasper because
Excellent.
he's also giving a presentation recently about his cool cryptids.
Good.
And
good cryptids.
How, and to present them all, he gave them all little bow ties.
Oh no! Oh no! I love them.
I love it so much.
Oh, that's very good.
All right.
Why are werewolves so cool?
Because they are.
Because they are. They're just great.
There we go. I sent you.
Here's the thing that we discuss every week. Why are werewolves so cool? Oh, I love that. I love the art style. I love the bow ties.
Artist is the artist who did the cover for Cautionary Fables Asia.
I thought that looked super familiar,
And they worked on
stylistically.
Gravity Falls.
Oh no, is that a phoenix in a bow tie?
Yes, it is.
Oh no, I love him.
And then there's a
Oh,
little
it's
Hydra that
very
has
good.
multiple bow ties, one for each head.
As you do.
Um,
You can't
and
give
so
just
forth.
one head a bow tie or they'll get jealous.
Yeah. Anyway, in Glass Scientist, it has Jekyll made the potion because he is bisexual and repressed about it.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
that's thematic. Yep.
so Hyde is less evil and more the embodiment of be gay, do crimes.
Good, good, good.
Because Jekyll is trying to suppress his
His gay
desire
urges.
for
Yep.
other men.
Don't repress yourself. Accept who you are. Be gay, do crimes.
Yeah.
Because of this project, I'm getting very good at drawing dog sleds. If you told me a year ago that it'd be like, so you're working on a thing, we're gonna draw lots of dog sleds, I would be like, oh, that sounds awful. But I am actually having a really good time drawing the dog sleds. Oh, I should show you guys a thing I made for drawing dog sleds because I modeled some shit really, 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 really roughly in Blender. So here is my incredibly thrown together in a hurry dog team. They're just squares with some legs. But this particular kind of sled has like a curve on the front that makes it very difficult to render in 3D when you're just drawing by hand. And then it's got these two sticks down the middle. It's called a carryall sled, and it's like an old school fur trading sled. So I was like, I will go insane trying to draw this from perspective unless I do something about that. So when it's actually got the cover on it, it looks like something like this. And then that lash is there, this lash is here, and you get kind of a bag to put all your goods into.
Cool.
And then this is the size of a young child. I didn't think to make an adult model, but I would just scale this up. There. So I'm going to be drawing a lot of this exact thing over the next year. And I'm very glad I made myself a model to save some time. I haven't found a way to import it into Clip Studio yet, so I've just been sort of matching the angle in Blender and then importing it over and seeing if it works, adjusting until it works. But also this way, the dogs all stay the same size. They don't
That's good.
grow. I'll show you how complicated the tack is. I had to recreate the tack on the dogs by going through historical photos and trying to figure out where all of the straps went. So they've got a band that goes under their chest and then around their belly. and then a little connector strap in the middle, and then a bit around the top of their shoulder. So that's the harness, and then they'll hook it up to the dog behind them. I'm very proud of having sleuthed that out. It took a lot of hours staring at very tiny, very blurry photographs to figure that one out. There's the
Man,
collar.
harnesses and shit are a pain.
They're super a pain. Anyway, back to actually drawing. I've also, one of my challenges for today is I've got to go through these maps that I've been given and try to figure out where everything is in relation to this historical hand-drawn note of the area. So Loom Lake doesn't appear on any modern maps, and it is so far the best. This one over here. That's the best landmark I have thus far. So I've been trying to look at like satellite imagery and figure out where this particular lake complex is, which I don't know if any of you are familiar with northern Manitoba, but it's like 90% small lakes. So I've got to figure out how that's going to happen.
So did this lake just dry up, or like what happened to it?
It's still there. I just don't know where.
But it's okay. They just lost its location.
Yeah. Or rather, they've just sent me the crappiest maps, so I need either
Okay.
better maps from them or the name of a nearby landmark that I can use to find the area that I need to then draw. So that was a part of my afternoon yesterday. It was just like staring at aerial photography of northern Manitoba, being like, maybe this one? I don't know. Could be.
I'm just thinking about how stupid horses are to draw.
Horses.
And I'm glad that they don't exist in City Between World. Oh, on Monday I went on Evan Dom's Vatu wrap-up party.
Oh, I was seeing
Vatu.
that. Yeah, that's a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah.
How long has that one been running?
He said 12 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's real good.
It's very good.
And it ends colonialism. That's how it ends.
Good.
Colonialism over.
Listen, let's all end colonialism because I got a real weird week next week. So the Queen died, and now there's been a public holiday declared on the opposite end of the week of Truth and Reconciliation Day, which, if you are not familiar with it, is the day when we all sit and think about how much colonization has fucked up Native folks in Canada. So it's a weird week. We're gonna bookend it with colonization and decolonization.
I've been watching various like lefty YouTubers all react to the news that the Queen died. And apparently there's a conspiracy theory that the current Prime Minister of England killed the Queen.
She just got like nominated a few days ago.
Cause she was the last person to shake hands with the Queen or like to see the Queen in person who wasn't a family member.
Is this some like the Russian slow acting poison conspiracy theory? Because
Or
like
like
no.
they intentionally gave the Queen COVID or something like that.
That's dumb. Although
The
it will
other
work
fun
out
thing
very well for
about
her government
saying,
because she is going to be able to make hay off of this.
the other fun theory about same Prime Minister that maybe killed the Queen is
Definitely
that
didn't, but
yeah, how about the Queen's just old?
yeah, how about she
But
was 96?
yeah,
When a 96-year-old woman dies, you're not like, oh no, was it murder? Unless, you have good reason to think so.
but so the other thing is someone pointed out that apparently the current Prime Minister of England frequently wears a day collar.
Okay.
So now there's a lot of people theorizing that she's the sub in an ongoing BDSM relationship.
K. All right. That's a thing.
Because every public appearance that she has, she's wearing
A little collar.
necklaces that means you're a sub. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That is a weird fashion choice, hun.
Um, yeah. They're all just like chains that end in a circle.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. It is possible that as an out of touch old white lady, she just thought it looked cool.
This
But
is just a fashionable
the
thing.
fact that she always wears one
Yeah, that's
is
a
why
little
I'm
maybe she is.
like
Oh, birds.
yeah.
Hello.
So
I don't know if you heard that squeaking, but I got buzzed by a bunch of little tiny birds.
okay. So yeah, here's an article about how they think she's a sub, and here's the evidence. A lot of tweets that are like, the Prime Minister is a sub, and I don't know what to do with this information.
I mean, she wouldn't be the first. There is some fairly well documented kinkiness from from various of the British Prime Ministers.
Mm-hmm. It's just funny. Like, that's the type of conspiracy theory I can get behind, because that doesn't actually hurt anybody.
No, exactly. It's just funny. Not that there's anything wrong with kink. It's just, a strange thing to see a political figure wearing.
It's the funny, like, to wear it to Parliament is,
Yeah, that's
why.
Okay, rope texture. Let's do this. I get to draw a lot of rope and a lot of fur in this comic.
Good.
And a lot of dogs.
I am almost done writing the script for the next City Between story.
Oh, nice.
And it's gonna be about a newbie vampire.
Yay.
And how they don't know who they are, and
I read a werewolf and vampire book last week. I quite enjoyed it. It was called Soulless, and it took place in Victorian England, except that everyone knows about the supernatural. And in fact, there are like agencies to help have them integrate into society. And the main lady is a person who counteracts the supernatural. So she her magic power is that if she touches the supernatural, they temporarily turn human. It's fun. It's a fun little period novel of detective work and sexy
so
werewolves.
the Victorian era.
Yeah.
Are they treating supernatural creatures better or worse than they treat the poor?
Oh, much better, because most of them are lords.
Okay.
Like, the vampires are all the 1%ers.
Okay.
That's part of why the supernatural is so well regarded, is it's like, oh, well, I mean, you can't kick, Lord What's-His-Face out of Parliament, so I guess, sure, he's a vampire, that's fine. We need to be fine with that.
I have to think of a sound effect for someone ripping the limbs off a corpse.
Ew. That's a tough one.
Because there's a scene where newbie vamp has killed someone, and older vamp shows up to help them hide the body.
Right.
And obviously body big, so
Yeah.
older vamp just like rips the arms off the torso and puts
Right.
them in a trash bag. Then the
if it wasn't the character of the big green ogre, Shrek would actually make a very good sound effect for that, because it's kind of the shredding of the flesh and the tearing of the bone. But obviously, one cannot use Shrek as an onomatopoeia.
I can just get rid of the E and just like
Shrek.
or change it to an I.
Schluck. That's more of
So
a cutting noise, though.
Or Shrek.
Shrek. Yeah.
I was going around Emerald City and trying to get some folks to pitch to Iron Circus.
Nice. Oh, well, I got a big day on Thursday. I think that'll be the Indigenerd's launch day, so I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see what submissions we get, because I'm really looking forward to some of these stories. I know Native people out there have some cool ass stories to tell, so very excited to read them.
While telling people to pitch, I feel like Spike really likes sci-fi and horror, but we don't get pitches for that often.
Right.
But it's also like Spike wants a specific type of sci-fi or horror.
Yeah.
And I feel like if Image is willing to publish it, it's probably not a good fit for Iron Circus.
No, it's too mainstream.
So I was telling people sci-fi that isn't action-y.
Yeah.
I said if aliens show up on Earth, we want Arrival, not Independence Day or War of the Worlds.
Yes. God, our initial pitch for Synthesis probably would have made a pretty good Iron Circus sci-fi, because the original pitch was less actiony and more just an NGO in space.
Yeah.
It was like, what if Greenpeace but in space, and more about planets' rights than like defending the galaxy or anything.
That would be.
What if Greenpeace fought capitalism in space?
Yeah.
With educational programs.
A friend of mine, James, has a book that just came out from Dark Horse, which is called Survival Street, which is basically PBS gets defunded, so all the Sesame Street Muppets are out of work. And then they decide to fight capitalism in the street as roving gangs.
Good.
So it's like Muppets horrifically murdering capitalists and whatnot.
That is a concept I enjoy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting murdered by a Muppet?
It'd be kind of embarrassing.
But also terrifying. Like, how is this puppet murdering me? Puppets are scary. I have a very peculiar fear that I've had since childhood of a creature that can see me, but I can't see its real face. So, like, they tried to take me to the like carnival that was going on behind my grandma's house, and there was mascot costumes there, and I was like, oh hell no, I'm noping the hell out of this. I do not like this. Weirdly doesn't apply to fursuits. I'm fine with animal people that you can't see their real faces, but I do not like people looking things that you cannot see their real face. The Domino's Pizza noids were particularly terrifying to me, and still are. I still can't look at them. Second dog. I think I mentioned that I've been listening to a lot of Magnus Archives because Corey really got me into it. And that's what I've been listening to as I draw this comic in particular. And I love it. Like, don't get me wrong, it is new and different, but also I can't help every time I'm listening to it just sort of being like, it's cool how you turned your Unknown Armies game into a audio drama. Because I know a lot of people who really are into it.
Unknown Armies is.
Oh, it's a really cool role-playing game that is horror. And you have a physical health track, but you also have, like, mental health, and your sense of self can get damaged. So, like, let's say overnight your eyes changed color or shape, or you didn't recognize yourself in a mirror. That would be a test against, like, self-damage. And the whole idea is the more you see weird supernatural stuff, the more your psyche starts to get messed up. That's pretty standard for horror games. Like, that's a Lovecraftian, like, Cthulhu game. Except that at a certain point when you have enough emotional damage, you snap and become a little bit supernatural yourself, and gain and see sort of behind reality into the weirdness that lies outside. Um, and if you do that hard enough and long enough, you step outside of the Earth completely and become one of those weird powers.
Huh.
Which is, if anyone's listened to the Magnus Archives, very similar. Although they've come up with a new concept that these are all based on fears, specifically, in the Magnus Archives. Whereas in Unknown Armies, it's just sort of like weird obsessions can break you out of our reality and make you very strange. And I would normally give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, yeah, but like it's just similar concept. Except that the guy also does a gaming podcast, and I'm like, if you've done a gaming podcast, you can't tell me that you have not heard of Unknown Armies. It's like one of the foremost horror games out there. Certainly my favorite. There's some good dogs.
I forget if I asked you this already. What is a public domain thing that you would adapt into a comic
Ooh.
that is on brand for you?
Ooh, good question. Public domain, eh?
Yep.
And I'm just thinking of like old stories that I've read. I would write a pretty funky Oz story. I don't know if that's on brand for me though, but it would be interesting. Problem is, on brand for me is either something native, and a lot of the public domain native legends are really problematic because they were like stolen from the people who told the stories, or cyberpunk, and there's not a lot of public domain cyberpunk. Maybe something about birds.
I'm trying to think of sci-fi fantasy stuff that has a lot of birds in it.
Mm-hmm. If there's a story about people that ride really big birds, I'd be all over that. Like Dragon Riders of Pern, but it's birds. But make it birds.
I was talking to Kevin about this. Well, I've been talking to multiple people about this because it's a thing that I think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And public domain stuff that I like. It's hard for me to pick one because there is no like public domain werewolf thing.
Yeah, that's true.
That's well known enough to like get people into my shit. So I think if I was gonna do it, I would probably do the Invisible Man.
Oh, cool.
Because every time the Invisible Man gets adapted, they leave out what is my favorite thing about the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that it's all told through town gossip.
Right.
Like, I'm constantly disappointed by modern The Invisible Mans.
Yes.
Because it's like abusive ex is the Invisible Man. And,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
so everything he's doing is stuff an abusive ex could do anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Creepily
whereas,
watching, or yeah.
like, I've seen You on
Mm.
Netflix, and he does all that creepy shit without being invisible. So, like,
Right.
being invisible is not the key to,
To the creep factor of
yeah, whereas,
the
like, the town
situation.
gossip angle is like, so this guy that moved into the inn, like, his face is always wrapped in bandages.
Yeah.
Do you think he's like a burn victim or something? And then the people, like,
Right.
trying to figure that out. And
Right.
then when they do find out he's invisible, they're like, oh no, he might be in this room, and if he is, that means he's naked.
Scandalous. Ew.
And then there's a bunch of, like, dumb shit, like, he can't eat food.
Right, because
Um,
otherwise then you can see it in his belly.
you can see, yeah, the food go down his esophagus. Like, so
Yeah.
for like an hour after he eats,
He's
he
not
has to
invisible. Yeah.
hide.
Good.
Yeah. And I just think that's funny.
You're like, look at what I've eaten. You could see how hungry you were. At some
Um,
point, though, at some point, it must be the food is digested enough that it goes invisible. Because
yeah, those guys
otherwise, you
say
would
like
just be
after
able to
an
see his
hour.
entire digestive system
Yeah,
always.
no, it's like after an hour, like after
Right,
his stomach breaks it down.
right.
Um,
Like there would still be
so
organic matter floating around in him, in his guts, that
mhm.
was not invisible.
Yeah, that's why they say it takes about an hour.
Right,
Like,
right.
uh, just to absorb the nutrients.
Oops, I may need to go for a minute. My bird is refusing to go to
Mhm.
bed, and she is yelling her head off because she wants me to go and tuck her in. She is a suck. Meg, are you being a suck? Come here. All right, I gotta go take my bird to bed. I'll be right back.
All right.
Nutmeg, come on.
How's everyone doing? I will talk to you while tucks in their bird. Um, do you have any favorite um public domain stories that you wish like there were comic versions of? Um,
I'm back. My bird is such a suck,
you
she
back?
wants me to tuck her in and kiss her head.
Okay.
She
I was
will
just
not go to
asking
bed without it.
chat. I was just asking your chat if they had a favorite public domain thing that they wish someone
Gotcha.
would watch. Um,
What do we got here on this here Project Gutenberg public domain list? Oh, there's some good stuff.
um, Joe was thinking that they might want to adapt the jungle,
Oh, cool.
but turn it into more modern immigrant exploitation story.
Mm.
Because what got me on this topic is talking to Joe about the jungle, and Joe had never read it before,
Right.
because schools in Mexico don't make people read the jungle, like, because
Right,
why
right.
would they?
Yeah.
That's American, that's U.S. history.
Yep.
Um, but like we got on the topic of it because I was like, no matter how blatant you are with your political message, like some people are gonna take the wrong thing away.
Yes.
Um, like the jungle is flat out like only communism can save us, and capitalism is like a poisonous end game that will destroy us all, and will lead to the downfall of even the best people.
Yep.
Um, and people's takeaway of it was, ew, there might be rats in my hot dog.
It's like no, 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 no. In
I
fact,
mean,
there
yes,
are.
true,
Yeah,
might
there
be
are.
rats in hot
Yep.
dog, but
That's not
there
the.
also might be dead children in your hot dog, or even if they're not in the hot dog, they're in the factory that made the hot dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
You could do a really cool modern the jungle.
yeah.
That's kind of cyberpunk. You could do that. Uh, I am speaking of cyberpunk. I am currently writing a short story that is based in the Shadowrun universe. Uh, and they let me play in the NAN, which is the Native American Nations. So, in Shadowrun, it was written in the 90s by one
Mm-hmm.
guy, a lot of the setting stuff
Mm-hmm.
for the Native American nations. And so they decided that they were going to be hip and edgy, and they were like, so if Native people suddenly got magic, because all the magic is based off of like you still practicing your traditional whatever it happens to be. So the people who got real strong magic is like China, Native folks, stuff like that. Um, Mexico gets some pretty cool magic too. But they're like, so here's an edgy idea. What if Native people got their magic back? They then put all of the white people on reserves. See, turn around. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So most of the setting stuff for the NAN, the Native American Nations, is based on this idea that like Native folks got their magic back and then
And they went for
kicked Whitey
revenge.
out. Instead of they went full land back, but they didn't like just take the land back. They're like, no one else can stay here for some reason, which is very dumb. And they haven't really modified it because it's sort of been their company's thing that they don't modify previous editions, but they'll add to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going into this going, I want to play with this idea and make it more in line with what I understand of Native identity. But I can't mess too much with what's there before. So I am writing a story about this takes place in Saskatchewan, and in their timeline, the Native folks in Saskatchewan uh, are mostly ruled by like the Algonquian in which are like some Eastern folks
Mm-hmm.
in Ontario and the like. And I was like, and they're all the lore book all talks about like the Anishinaabe and Ojibwe people and the Haudenosaunee, and I'm like, okay, but you put the capital in Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan's basically Cree and Métis. So where'd all those folks go? What's happening there? And so I'm just writing it in that they're still there, but because the power structure in colonial Canada was all based in Ontario, that the Ontario folks kind of had like a pre-set up, ready to go, ready to run the country situation. And so now there's this like tension between East and West of all of the like Western Bloc Native folks who are running the country now, butting heads with the Eastern, or the Eastern folks are running the country, and the Western folks are like, yeah, but we're still here too, and also we grow all your food, so give us some political power. I also came up with a. They've reintroduced all the buffalo to North America because they're like, good. I need our herds because they are our brothers, and it sucks that they weren't wiped out. And so now one of the things all teens are expected to do is go and join a term with the Buffalo Companions, where you like learn how to ride a horse and you ride along with the herds to keep them safe. Not from natural predators, but like in Shadowrun universe, there's like literal demons sometimes.
Oh, those wacky demons.
All those wacky demons running around.
They just keep you guessing.
Mm-hmm. So like in the same way that in Israel, like service in the army is required, here it's just like no. Yet everyone knows how to ride a horse because you spent summers as a kid riding around protecting the buffalo from demons, and everyone's real good with a gun.
Man, horses are terrible.
Let me see if I can draw a horse leg. Just from memory. Thing about horse legs is that nothing goes where you expect it to.
They're monsters. They're awful.
They got a big scapula like this, and then their leg goes up and back and down, and then there, and then there, and then a hoof. There. There's a horse leg.
No, but I hate it. I hate it. I hate them. They're awful.
That's how you do a horse leg. And then you can variously take that same shape and do some weird shit to it to make it do like one of the hoof. Now it's doing a prance.
So because City Between World has no horses,
Yeah, you're just like, heck to that. I'm not drawing those monsters.
I have to think of so I told you that I wanted like a group of nomadic peoples in
Yep.
City Between, and I have to think of how they're getting around.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to draw cars and I don't want to draw horses.
Travois, baby. Do some
What?
travois. Have you heard of travois?
No.
They are a dog-pulled sled that used to be really popular among the Cree, which are my people. And they're basically like, so take two long sticks and kind of lash them together, one on either side of the dog, and then another stick across the middle of this to support the weight, and then drape canvas through the middle. So you get like a little sling almost, more like a stretcher, where one end is supported on the dog and the other end sort of drags on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. And the dogs were real happy to pull it. And you just switch out a fresh dog every hour or so, and you can go all day on dog power.
Good. Okay, good. That
Here,
fits.
I'll try and link you to an image of one. They're really cool.
Yeah, so maybe I'll try to think of a futuristic-y looking version of that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how the Cree people used to go around. So basically, what you do is you take the teepee down, and then you would lash the couple of the teepee poles to the dog as part of the travois, and then you were managing to carry all your goods, but also transport your teepee poles. Because there's only a few places on the prairies where you can get trees tall and straight enough to make a really good teepee. So it was just a really convenient way to transport everything you needed. And then when horses came, they were like, "Man, these are just big dogs. Let's do the same thing, but now we can carry more shit."
Dogs are monsters.
Yeah, I mean they're literally called Mistatim in Cree, and Atim is dog, and Mista is big, so they're just the big dogs. Those big dogs. Here, I'm linking you to the Wikipedia article.
Thank you.
No problem. But yeah, I can still draw horses and their weird legs just from memory. It took some studying to do so. I drew a lot of weird horses before I came to this
Because these like more
formula.
nomadic would maintain natural food forests.
Nice, good.
Because my idea is that a flood happens and police in City Between World don't just investigate crime, they also are manpower to help with natural disasters.
Gotcha.
So there's a flood that wrecks some farming land, but the other side is like a more natural food forest
Cool.
that wasn't hurt as much by the flood. The idea being that the natural plants,
It's resilient and flood resistant. Yeah.
yeah, like their roots, like because various tree roots help prevent flooding.
Yeah. They literally do. And any place with a beaver dam helps prevent forest fires because it holds a lot of the water into the water table.
Partly gonna be like
Foliage.
about um Connor's husband trying to convince the farmers to like cool their jets on the type of plants that they're planting. Like
Right.
maybe they should plant a few more trees in their industrial farmland.
To
But I need
hold
to
some of
think
that topsoil.
yeah, but I need to think of a supernatural angle thing for Connor to be involved in while that's
Cool.
going on. That like reflects that. But I did have an idea of Connor going to talk to some of the nomadic folks and doesn't want to get too close to their camp because they have a bunch of dogs
Right.
and dogs don't like him
Because werewolf.
because he's a wolf. Yeah.
Yeah. Food forests were definitely a thing that even nomadic tribes were super good at. So I have a lot of stories from my people on the plains where anytime you were walking from one camp to another, you would usually stop and gather some of the seasonal seeds that for plants that you wanted to grow along the road, and then you would like sow them as you went along, so that next time you passed through there, you'd know that like, oh well, now the sage is growing there, so I can harvest some of that, or well, I want more berries in this area, so I'll just bring the berry seeds with me and plant them as I go. That way you have food for your whole journey when you come back.
I do want to avoid a one-to-one cultural thing.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna also look into some Romani stuff.
Yeah.
Uh,
Romani also very well known for their excellent dog handling.
yeah. And then also, since it's the future, they can have bikes too. I'm a weirdo. I'd rather draw a bike than a car.
That's weird. I think I would rather draw a horse than a car.
No, I'd rather draw a car because it's easy to get a model for a car.
Oh, that's true.
And also, cars don't change. Like, their things don't change. They're always the same.
Yeah. Whereas like a horse can do weird things.
And
Horses
also,
squash and stretch.
because horses are a living thing, like, I'd feel inclined to be like, what is the horse doing?
Yeah. It's not
Like,
just like parked in the back of the scene.
yeah, yeah. Um, it's easy to leave and forget about a car.
Yep.
But like a thing I wanted to do also in the city between is, so our world has the stereotype slash myth that werewolves come from a Romani curse.
Yep.
Um, and basically the idea is City Between World has a similar stereotype. Um, but it's just because like before people knew werewolves were real, werewolves would have to travel around a lot.
Oh.
People who were not a werewolf and also not part of this nomadic culture just assumed they were the same,
Makes sense.
and lumped them together.
They're just like,
Uh,
man, people who move around a lot sure have some things to do with wolves.
clearly a werewolf.
Yeah.
And so when Connor shows up to this flood disaster area to help with relief, someone is going to comment that he doesn't look like he's whatever I end up calling these nomadic people.
Right, right.
And then the other construction worker is like, "You idiot! Like they're not werewolves. Aren't that people? They were cursed by those people." Like,
And you'd be like, no, actually, neither. Thanks.
yeah, it's neither.
If you're gonna be racist at me, at least get your facts straight.
Yeah. What? Racism following facts? That's no.
That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. That never happens. It's all nonsense. Uh, the Sophie from Mars YouTuber who did stuff about videos about The Witcher, talked about how the fantasy racism in The Witcher is better written than most fantasy racism. Because the mistake that authors frequently do when writing about fantasy racism is say in the movie Bright, which
Yeah.
is bad.
I've never seen it because I love Shadowrun, and everyone's like, it's the Shadowrun movie, and I'm like, nope, it will only make me angry.
So,
Because
but
Shadowrun
in
is
it,
good.
like, they say that, like, orcs or trolls or whatever, like, are stronger and have tougher skin.
Right.
And it's like, but then those are presented as facts.
Right.
So it's like, racism is bad, but they are correct.
But it is
about
true.
orcs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in The Witcher, it's the elves secretly have hidden gold everywhere. And it's like, well, if they did, they wouldn't all be homeless.
Yeah.
And live ghettos. So, it is making racism is all nonsense as its point.
Gotcha.
Which is therefore makes it better lines up with actual racism, which is nonsense.
Or that the factors that are true have more than one factor, like, like redlining. It's like, oh, these people are all poor, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
well, yeah,
If
because
it's
we
like,
got we got segregated into our own communities.
if your racist thing about a group of people is that they don't bathe in nothing, they're all smelly, but they're also not in an area that has regular clean water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Or like a lot of the reserves in the south, or in the like South Dakota, where they're like, man, Native people sure drink a lot. Maybe it's because the government deliberately put like all of the liquor centers right near the reserve in an attempt to
Yeah,
try and foster addictions. You know,
yeah, exactly.
it's an actual
Um,
thing, but it's got a reason.
yeah.
It's like, look,
It's
we don't have
also
running
like,
water, but
oh,
you
this
can get beer for stupid cheap.
um I forget where I read it, but someone wrote a paper about um basketball, and the group that gets associated with basketball is the thing that they always have in common is that they're poor.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
because basketball is one of the cheapest sports to play. You
Same thing with
really
soccer,
kind of, yeah, same with soccer.
because it's like you just need to
Because
run. Can you run? Do you have a field?
Well, because it's this guy was specifically talking about like neighborhoods in New York, and apparently basketball used to be stereotypically associated with the Jews at the
Mm,
like big turn of the century.
right.
Um and he found like writing about why different people in the 1800s thought Jews were just better at basketball. Um
Fascinating.
and it's
And I'm sure
playing
it's all the
all
same
the
stuff
usual
that,
anti-Semitic stereotypes.
yeah.
It's like, and then eventually the stereotypes switched over that black people are good at basketball,
Yep.
and you know what it was? It's because they lived in the poor neighborhoods of New York where
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't even a lot of room to run to play soccer.
Yep.
So just like having a hoop to play basketball,
Is a
like
thing you can do.
yeah, it was cheap and didn't require a lot of space.
Yep.
Um, and it's just that's who lived in this neighborhood. Um,
Yup.
uh, and it's also just stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Some other good historical photos here. Yeah, let's do this one.
I'm now looking at Travoy's the Wikipedia article,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think I might combine it dogs and goats. Um,
Good.
'Cause if it's more rocky terrain, then goats would
Yeah.
probably be better based on how this is described.
I like a good goat drawn cart.
Yeah.
That's fun. Goats are great because they just eat anything. It'd be very handy to have. You don't have to feed them any special feed.
They could also, it's the future. They could have robots that look like those Boston Dynamic dogs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those murder dogs.
Just found out about this thing called a treadle bike.
Huh. What was that?
It's a weird looking bike.
Funky?
I fell down a rabbit hole by looking at voice.
Yeah.
And
Like, alternate forms of hauling shit around are just real neat. There was also the Red River carts, which got really popular among the Métis. And they were like a light single horse or couple goats kind of cart that was used to transport a lot of goods along. From the Red River, hence the name.
looking that up. Okay, yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah. They were light enough that you could haul them just with a human too. Like,
Yeah.
you just get a guy to drag them along. I don't like that pose for the arm. I may have him holding an axe. Holding an axe is a far more active thing to be doing than just kind of standing there posing. Oh, actually, I'd want to stay close to the historical picture. What if he's just kind of got his hand tucked in his pocket?
I'm having the bad guy of the City Between story. She is using magic water to encase a character's whole head in water.
And magically waterboard them?
Yeah, she's trying to drown him, period.
Yeah.
Because werewolves still need to breathe.
Yep. Hard to regenerate when you can't breathe.
So,
I know in many of the vampire games I've played in, there's always been somebody who's been like, so vampires don't need to breathe, right? So I'm going to build my haven, the place I hide in during the day, like at the bottom of the ocean, so no one will ever find me. Because then no human can just like wander across me.
I mean, that's true.
And then I won't have any complications from my downtimes. And I was like, but I would, as the ST, because, everyone needs to have complications. You can't just clever your way out of the game that everyone else is playing. I'd be like, okay, well then there's like a dive team finds you. Or there's like an underwater earthquake and you're trapped in there for a little bit. And it's very inconvenient.
I mean, that's what happened in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Good.
The dive team found Dio, and that's how he came back.
Good,
He
good, good.
was at the bottom of the ocean, and then them finding him made him be like, cool, I'm back, and I'm ready to vampire it up and go, it was me, Dio.
All along. Hello. Excellent.
Dio is great because he's ridiculous.
I mean, they're all ridiculous. But he's especially
Dio is
ridiculous.
the most ridiculous villain that has happened in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He is cranked up to 11 at all times. He
Excellent.
had another
Good.
vampire hide inside a horse
Good, good, good.
to attack the main characters. Like,
Excellent.
I was telling someone that the in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, there is a part where a horse explodes because a vampire has been hiding inside of it.
Good.
And they're like, I'm sold. I will now watch.
I now need to see this happen.
Yeah.
And understand why it is happening.
The first JoJo has the worst JoJo, but is very entertaining because vampire exploding in a horse.
Inside a horse. What if I hid inside the horse? Is a very players in a vampire game logic, and I approve of it.
There's no sunlight inside the horse.
No, no, exactly.
My question is, somehow the horse was alive while the vampire was still hiding inside of it. How that works, I don't know.
How'd they get this guy in there in the first place without killing the horse? They have a magical horse surgeon. Somebody's power is horse surgery. That's a good dog. Now to draw some cool scenery. I love looking at reference picture of huskies because I've had to do that a lot for the sled teams. And boy, are they all just really, really happy to be sled dogs. They're just like, I'm a good boy. I have my job. It's to go real fast, and I'm real good at it. Let's go.
I like Alaskan Malamutes.
They're very cute.
They're like
so
the
fluffy.
Clydesdales to huskies.
Yes. Yes. There's some big boys.
They're not as fast, but they hold all the things.
Yeah. Some big dogs. I like that huskies actually will like howl and bark to psych themselves up when they're getting tired. Like somebody in the team will just start howling or barking, and the rest of them get all hyped because of it. They're like, yeah, we're still good. We're still good boys. Let's go fast.
Go super fast.
We could go faster. Alright, let's put some thicker lines on these guys. Did you guys get a lot of the smoke down in down the south there?
Yeah, our air quality has been shit the past few days.
Yeah, us too. I figured you'd be closer because you've got the like there's California fires, whereas we've got a little bit of that, but mostly our own fires. There's like a big fire in Hope, not far from here. That's bringing all the smoke down the river, and that's right where we live. So I've been basically trapped in my art room, where we've got the HEPA filter for the birds. Or if I go out into the main rooms, I can be out there for a bit before I kind of get a little sore throat, and then my brain's like, "Oh no, you have COVID." And I'm like, "No, it's smoky. I am allergic to smoke." So that's been fun this week. I like to live in a dystopian world where the entire sky is unbreathable. That's good. Is that your last con for the season?
Yep, I'm free.
Nice. Good. I am very glad to be done.
I'm now just, at the moment, falling down a rabbit hole looking at different types of wheels.
Oh, good. Oh, see ya, Jam. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye, Jam.
Alright, I got some tundra in the background here. This is my favorite part. I could draw tundra all day. Got some skinny trees. With the
So
weird
I'm
little...
thinking for futuristic-y dog-pulled carts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Might give the wagon tracks
Oh,
rather
cool.
than wheels.
Yeah.
Because if they have a lot of uneven terrain.
Yeah, yeah. Plus tracked vehicles. Pretty not bad to draw.
Yeah. And it looks like the main disadvantage is they go slower.
They do, yeah.
And that's fine. If you're moving a lot of stuff because you're
Yeah.
staying on the road, like, you don't need to go fast.
Nope. What are you, Sonic? So once we're done streaming for tonight, and I am done with my drawing, I am going to go and read the book I've been looking forward to all day, which
What
is
book?
the newest book in the LOTT series. The Nona just came out, the third book, so I'm very excited for that. That's my treat to myself this evening. I let myself read the first chapter last night because it unlocked at like midnight, and I was like, well, I will be up all night reading this if I let myself, so I will read one chapter and then go to bed. And I kept to that, which is very nice.
Hooray, willpower.
Yeah.
I'm probably, when we're done streaming, gonna go back to finishing the new October Day book.
Good. Good, good. There. Nice good family photos. Almost done. Then my main task for tomorrow will be to figure out this map situation. Continue my sleuthing. I honestly think that this is sort of an east-west situation. Because if that's Kazan River, I think that's to the west. So that's probably how the page will end up looking. I drew these fishtails too sharky. I'm gonna redraw them. More like fish, less like a shark. There. That's a lake fish, not a shark. Oh, I didn't see the page you posted. Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
His head getting trapped in water.
Good, good, good. Is that ice in the first panel?
Yeah, well, it's snow.
Okay, cool.
And then the snow turns into water.
Nice.
This person basically has waterbender powers.
Excellent. Let me draw a different log. Ah, that should work.
Alright, I think I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yep. Sounds good to me. I think I'm also reaching the end of what I can do tonight.
Yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. Y'all have a good one. We'll be here next week, and I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah. Check out our sites. Good chat with y'all. We'll see you next week.
Bye.